This is the first of the key leaders and generals of the Civil War, which would be a very good presentation for most secondary U.S. history classes. And this presentation will discuss the key leaders and generals of the Civil War, which is once again very good for your secondary. First key leader is Abraham Lincoln, who was the 16th President of the United States, played a key role in the 13th Amendment, which ended slavery. He was a lawyer and politician in Illinois before becoming president. He served several terms in the state legislature, one term in the House of Representatives. He was president. The next one is Andrew Johnson, who succeeded Lincoln after his assassination in 1865, was the 17th president. He clashed with radical Republicans on how to deal with the South. He was the governor of Tennessee. He was the first president to be impeached, and he served in the Tennessee legislature. Also, the only Southern. Okay. Jefferson Davis, who is the president of the Confederate States of America. Mexican war hero, senator from Mississippi, president of the Confederacy once again, argued against secession. Davis was captured, imprisoned, and charged with treason, never tried, clashed with general and political leaders of the Confederacy throughout the Civil War. Alexander Stephens was a vice president of the Confederacy. He was a moderate who was very much for slavery, but was nominated as the vice president because the Southerners felt that he would win the border states when the time came. He was a key role in crafting the Confederate Constitution, clashed with Jefferson Davis very often. Robert E. Lee is the first general we will talk about. He was a major general of the Virginia troops. He opposed secession. He surrendered to Ulysses S. Grant in 1865 at Appomattox Courthouse. He resigned from the U.S. Army to side with his home state of Virginia when the Civil War broke out. He led two invasions of the North soil failed. Stonewall Jackson, his highest rank was lieutenant general, earned the nickname at the Battle of First Bull Run for standing in the line of fire. Mortally wounded by his own men at the Battle of Chancellorsville, devout Christian, believed in predestination. Actions at Harper's Ferry made him a very big military legend. Jeb Stuart's highest rank was Major General. He was in charge of the cavalry brigades, which was the horses. He was blamed for Lee's failure at Gettysburg because no one wanted to blame Lee for this loss. Promoted to colonel after Stonewall Jackson's death, and his cavalry attacks hurt Union troops early on. Next up is Joseph Johnston. He was a brigadier general in the U.S. Army before the Civil War, and his highest rank was general during the Civil War. He was the general of the Army of the Potomac at one point before the Civil War. Highest ranked U.S. general to leave. Resentful, he was never promoted higher in the Confederacy. P.G.T. Beauregard's highest rank was general, most famous for his attack on Fort Sumter to begin the Civil War, fought in the Mexican-American War, rose through ranks by family connections which angered higher-ranking officials, criticized Davis and politicians saying they should have no say or control over the military. And he was dismissed after Shiloh. Braxton Bragg, his highest rank was general. He was also a veteran of the Mexican-American War. He was brilliant at planning attacks, but a very weak executor. Many quarrels with senior officers. He was a very severe disciplinarian. Didn't keep attacking Grant Chattanooga, which he ultimately got blamed for, which was a turning point in the Civil War. Nathan Bedford Forrest. Nathan Bedford Forrest was his highest rank was lieutenant general. He was a slave owner and cotton millionaire. No formal military training. One of the most feared generals of the Civil War. He led lightning raids and rear area strikes, which became part of modern war tactics. Ulysses S. Grant is the first general we will talk about for the Union. Worked as a tailor before the war. He was a lieutenant general of all Union armies. Mexican-American war hero. Accused of being an alcoholic. Wins at Shiloh, Vicksburg, and Chattanooga, and was eventually elected president of the United States after a few terms. George McClellan's highest rank was Major General. His nickname was Young Napoleon. Twice commander of the Army of the Potomac, the largest army in the Union. Removed by Lincoln in 1862. Was openly disdainful of Lincoln, always complaining of lack of supplies, routed at Bull Run by General Robert E. Lee, the Confederates. William Sherman, highest rank, was Major General. He was accused of very controversial tactics, especially the burning of Georgia and the march to the sea, where they would literally destroy the land, crops, people's homes, everything in sight, to completely break the will of the Confederacy. After the Civil War, named Commanding General of the U.S. Army. Ambrose Burnside's highest rank was Major General. He was also a veteran in the Mexican-American Army. Took command of the Army of the Potomac after McClellan was dismissed by Abraham Lincoln. He also served at Bull Run and Fredericksburg and was eventually dismissed as leader of the Army of the Potomac after multiple losses. George Meade's highest rank was Major General. Defeated Robert E. Lee at the Battle of Gettysburg, which many historians view as a turning point in the war. He was a U.S. Army officer throughout his entire military career, criticized for not pursuing Lee after the Battle of Gettysburg and ending his reign over that area of the country. Robert Anderson's highest rank was Brigadier General. He commanded Fort Sumter during the early bombardment that started the war. He was forced to surrender due to lack of supplies, which he felt was weak, but many praised him for. Served in the Mexican War, raised flag over Fort Sumter at the end of the war as a ceremony to him. Had to retire due to ill health. Nathaniel Banks' highest rank was Major General. He was a Major General only due to his political connections. No prior military training or experience for Nathaniel Banks, which some people criticized. Placed in charge of the Department of Shenandoah Army and driven from Winchester by Stonewall Jackson, which was just one of many retreats. Irvin McDowell's highest rank was Major General. He was classmates with P.G.T. Beauregard at the U.S. Military Academy, and these two would eventually face off. Commanded the 1st Northeastern Virginia Army, never had led troops before, blamed for loss at Second Bull Run, spent 2 years in exile from leadership position in the Army. Winfield Scott's highest rank was Major General during the Civil War, famous for commanding the new corps at Gettysburg. Injured at Gettysburg, after war taxed with execution of Lincoln and the Lincoln conspirators, graduated from West Point and also fought in the Mexican War. And this here is a list of references over these next 2 pages, and I very much hope that everyone enjoyed this presentation and that it was very useful and can help show that this would be a very good presentation for secondary education U.S. history on the Civil War. Thank you.